All right, let's dive right in. We're about to take on one of the biggest, most fundamental ideas in all of mathematics, maybe even all of science, infinity. I mean, it feels so basic, right? But what if? What if it's actually a huge mistake? Today, we're going to explore a really powerful argument that suggests infinity isn't just wrong, it might actually be holding math back. And yeah, this slide just lays it right out there. What if the biggest idea in mathematics is a mistake? The argument we're digging into today says that the whole concept of infinity, the thing we use to talk about the universe, everything, is built on a foundation that's, well, completely unstable. I know, it's a huge claim, but it's one that's being taken more and more seriously. And look, this isn't some fringe theory. This critique is coming from inside the house. You've got leading mathematicians, people who work with infinity, like W. Hugh Wooden, who apparently end their big talks with this exact phrase. This could also not be true. Now, our source argues that's not just, being humble. It's basically an admission that there's a deep, deep crack in the whole idea. So that brings us right to the heart of it. The source we're looking at calls this foundational bankruptcy. I mean, wow, that's a strong term. This isn't just some friendly academic disagreement. The argument is that by accepting infinity, mathematics has basically abandoned the very rigor, the strict rules that are supposed to be its bedrock. Think about it. Math is all about incredibly strict, unbending rules. Every single number has to follow them, but the argument here is that infinity just got a free pass. It's like it was allowed into this exclusive club without having to pass any of the tests that every other number has to nail just to get in the door. Okay, so what are these tests? What makes a number, a number? Our source boils it down to a really simple checklist. Just 3 fundamental properties that something has to have to even be called a number. It's really about whether it can do what we expect a number to do. And here they are. It's actually pretty straightforward. Number 1, identifiability. Can you actually point to it and say, that's the one? Is it a specific, unique value? Number 2, comparability. Can you compare it to other numbers? Is it bigger than this one, smaller than that one? And number 3, arithmetic closure. This one sounds fancy, but it just means when you do math with it, like adding or subtracting, do you get another number back as an answer? Pretty basic stuff, right? This is like numbering 101. And this is where it all comes crashing down for infinity. This table just says it all. You take a normal, everyday number, like 27. Does it pass the tests? Yep. Identifiable? Check. Comparable? Check. Arithmetic closure? Check. Green lights all the way. But then you look at infinity, and it's a total failure. It fails every single one. You can't pin it down, you can't really compare it, and when you try to do math with it, infinity plus 1 is just infinity. It doesn't give you a new answer. It's a logical loop. So according to this, infinity just plain isn't a number, not even close. Okay, so if we throw infinity out the window, what do we replace it with? Well, one idea that's been floated, it's from a school of thought called ultra-finitism, is what if there's just a biggest number, like a final boss of numbers, and after that, nothing. The number line just stops. It sounds kind of logical at first, but yeah, this idea runs into its own massive problem. And just to give you a sense of what they're talking about, one of the proposed candidates for this biggest number is 2 tetrated to the 1,000. Now, that's not 2 with an exponent of 1,000. No, that's a tower of powers of 2, 1,000 levels high. It's a number so mind-bogglingly huge that you literally couldn't write it down if you used every atom in the universe. But is that really the end of the line? And the answer is a hard no. Our source is super clear on this. There is no biggest number. The problem is just obvious, isn't it? You've got this supposedly biggest number, and then what do? You add 1. Boom, now you have a bigger one. It just creates this totally arbitrary wall. You're just trading one bad idea for another. So, okay, infinity is out. A biggest number is out. What on earth is left? Well, this is where things get really interesting. This is where our source proposes a totally different solution. Something they call the gray area. So what is this gray area? It's not a hard wall or a specific number. Think of it more like a fog. It's this transitional zone where numbers get so ridiculously huge that they kind of stop working. They lose those 3 properties we talked about, identifiability, comparability, and they just become meaningless symbols on a page. And the crucial part is, we can never know exactly where that fog begins. It's intentionally fuzzy. So let's put these 2 ideas side by side. You've got infinity, which our source basically calls a fairy tale. It's full of paradoxes, weird different types of infinity. It's a mess. And then you've got the gray area. This is presented as a much more honest and practical solution. It's not a magical number, it's just a functional boundary. It's an admission that, hey, at some point, our number system just breaks down. It stops being useful. Now, I know this can all feel super abstract, like something only mathematicians in an ivory tower would care about. But the stakes are actually huge. This gets to the very soul of what mathematics even is. Is it this super rigorous system based on hard logic? Or is it a field where we can just make up concepts that feel cool, like fairy tales? And this quote from the source just nails it. When we don't define our terms, numbers are cast into the same realm as elves and goblins. I love that. The point is, if you stop demanding that your most basic ideas are rigorously defined, you lose your connection to truth. You might as well be talking about fantasy creatures. And whatever math is, it's not supposed to be fantasy. And that brings us to the core belief behind this whole argument. Numbers aren't just these abstract Platonic ideas floating around in space. They're defined by what they can do. It's all about function. And if you have a thing that you can't identify, can't compare, and can't use in math, well, it's lost all the properties that make it a number in the first place. So let's just do a quick rundown of the main points here. First, the whole idea of infinity, it completely bombs the basic tests for what makes a number a number. Second, the alternative, having a single biggest number. That doesn't work either. It's just as flawed. Third, this idea of a gray area is put forward as a more honest functional boundary that avoids all the paradoxes. And really, the whole thing is a call to get mathematics back to what it's supposed to be, a system built on super rigorous functional definitions. And that really leaves us with this one big question to chew on. If a so-called number is so big that you can't identify it, you can't compare it, you can't even do math with it, is it still a number, or has it become something else? A symbol, an idea, or maybe, as our source would say, just a fairy tale? Something to think about.